Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. On this channel we talk about all things fandom and we talk about them in a positive way. And if that's something that appeals to you, you know you've come to the right place. This is Terrifying Tuesday on this channel where we talk about all things horror. And today we have to talk about the gift that keeps on giving, Scream 7 news. That's right, a new interview with Matthew Lillard had come out. And while not explicitly about Scream 7, there are some things that kind of just might hint that Matthew Lillard could be coming back. I know. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so we have to talk about this interview that Matthew Lillard gave to Bloody Disgusting because while not really about Scream, he does say something interesting about the Scream franchise. Or does he? It's again Matthew Lillard being very vague about one project that he's doing that's coming out. But let's take a look first at this interview with Matthew Lillard. The interview talks a little bit about Find Familiar Spirits, a nerdy custom spirits company founded by Matthew Lillard and screenwriter Justin Ware. And they have since released some new blends and some awesome ones in the past, including their recent partnership with Critical Role to make Sandkeg's Hide Whiskey. For their latest brew, the company decided to dabble in tequila as they created a horror-themed spirit called Maab Spirits. So that's kind of where the interview starts, them asking him a little bit about some of this, which is really cool. They ask him what did he think of fan reactions to Sandkeg's Hide for Critical Role. How did he enjoy it? And he says that he was blown away. We thought we had created something special, but to see fans' responses was incredibly validating and gratifying. The best part for me was hearing that the liquid itself is some of the best yet. That was the cherry on the top. Huge shout out to our creative team. They all deserve credit for the project. Story, unboxing, experience art, liquid, chef's kiss, and a Critical Role. They were fantastic partners all the way through it. And they asked him the question, what made you decide to branch into horror for the next spirit? And his response was, from the very start, we knew if it worked, we wanted to create something special for the horror community next. It's a fan base we genuinely love, and one I feel personally deeply connected to. At FFS, we're all about celebrating fandoms that aren't always in the mainstream spotlight and building something truly authentic and cool just for them. I completely agree with that. That's what we do on this channel too. I mean, I try to present you with fandoms that you know very well, but then I hope that by watching our channel, you find other fandoms you never would have even come in contact with. And I hope that by me talking about things and getting excited about all the new projects, that I can help you guys to get excited about new things and watch new things too. So I completely respect this and love this about Matthew Lillard. It's what has always made him one of the top-notch actors in my book anyway. They then go on to ask, how did you land on tequila for the choice of drink? What led you to call it Macabre? And his response was tequila, more specifically blue agave, just felt like the right vibe for season 1 of Macabre. There's something about tequila and horror stories that just clicks. It's also my personal favorite. I was selfishly very happy to dive in. There's a real artisanal approach to craft tequila these days. Just amazing depth and variety. As for calling it Maab Spirits, one of our main inspirations was literally horror. From Mary Shelley to Edgar Allan Poe to Stephen King. And the word macabre just captures that tone perfectly. My partner and CEO Justin Ware suggested it first, and as a screenwriter by trade, he's a named wizard. Now, they do go on to discuss this for a little bit longer, and you can go and find this article yourself and read the complete article. It's really quite interesting to see Matthew Lillard and to know about this whole other side that fans don't normally get to see of him. This sort of dabbling in spirits, dabbling in the drink business. That is something that we don't normally get to see as fans, and I thought it was very interesting. But what exactly does this have to do with Scream? Well, as I told you, there is one little bit that has to do with a possible Scream connection, and that's what we're going to dive into next. Because at the very end of this interview, they ask him a question. Is there anything else you'd like to plug or promote? Any projects you're working on you can talk about? And his response is pure Matthew Lillard gold. He says, me? Talk about me? It's my favorite pastime. I'm on a plane right now heading to NOLA to finish up my work on Five Nights at Freddy's, which comes out next December. Life of Chuck is landing in May. I play one of the leads in the second season of Cross on Amazon, and I've got another film and series lined up for 2025. Not to mention, Beetle and Grimm's has an incredible slate of projects next year. 2025 is shaping up to be another wickedly busy year, and I couldn't feel more blessed. Okay, so that right there is our kind of telling point, because he says in the interview he has some projects he's working on, that he was just completing Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And keep in mind, for this interview to come out, this interview probably happened last year, late last year, and it's just coming out to the public now because that's kind of how it works. So he talks about this and says, I'm going to finish Five Nights at Freddy's, meaning Five Nights at Freddy's 2. He then talks about the projects he can talk about, but in true Matthew Lillard fashion, he's got a sort of hint at another project that he can't maybe talk about. He says he has a movie coming out. Now, I know that there's going to be some people that say if you go to his IMDb page, there is a project listed that could be that project. It says that it's still unfinished, but if you look at the progress on that particular movie ain't ever coming out because it was last updated in the year 2000. So either something happened with that project or they're holding off on that project for a long time. That project is probably never coming out. So that only leaves the projects that aren't listed on his IMDb. This series that he's talking about that he could be in, but more importantly, this movie he's talking about that he is in. Seems to be one of those things that's kind of a surprise. And here's the catch to that. If you remember, Matthew Lillard was talking to someone and they asked him if he was going to be in Scream 7. And he said, no. And even if I was, I would lie to your face. And that's got people right there wondering about this. Not to mention that Kevin Williamson wanted to do something with him all the way back in Scream 3. And not to mention the fact that the writer that's writing for these movies, he's a fan of Stu Macher as well. And then you have the fact that he was mentioned as a possible rumor whether or not Stu was alive in Scream 5 and Scream 6. So going back and looking at those and knowing that they're bringing in the characters of the twins, the Meeks twins coming back, all these things that are sort of coming back into play. it looks like this could in fact be heading back to a way of maybe bringing in the cult of Ghostface. And that's what a lot of people are still saying. The cult of Ghostface, the cult of Ghostface. And I completely agree. This has got to be the way that you move forward with the series. So why not, if you are doing this, bring back Stu Macher? And I'm not saying that Stu Macher is going to be alive in the movie. But wait, if Stu Macher is not alive in the movie, then how's he even going to be there? Well, we do know that they made his partner in crime, Billy Loomis, a ghost. Now, I don't want them to go that route, and I don't think anybody else does either. However, if you could do a flashback, and they have the technology to de-age somebody and all of this, I think that could be a way they could go. De-age Matthew Lillard. It might look a bit funny, a bit uncanny valley, maybe, possibly, but just getting this flashback to him in his high school days, giving us something we didn't know about the whole thing, might be a really cool way to go. Now, if they do intend on bringing back Stu Macher, that would be exciting too. Imagine Stu Macher officially being alive. It would be the hint from the moments of Scream 5 and Scream 6 where we as fans caught on to this. We embraced this idea. And I know there's people that don't want Stu Macher to come back, and there's people that do. But I couldn't very well just leave this article at bay. I couldn't very well just say, hey, this interview means nothing. Because if he's not talking about a project and he had outright told us before that he was going to lie to our face if he was in the movie, then it is something to consider. It is something that may just happen after all. Because we know that Matthew Lillard loves the Scream franchise. And we know that Matthew Lillard was in every Scream movie except for Scream 6. We know that he had a cameo in every single Scream movie except Scream 6. We know this, some unseen cameo in every single Scream movie except 6. This tells us how much he loves the franchise. This tells us how much he's willing to come back. And if they offered him the chance to do the storyline that he was supposed to do in Scream 3, one that he states he got paid for, I honestly think that he would jump at the chance to do this. And we as fans, as long as we're presented with something cool, with something awesome, I think that fans would also embrace this. And I know, like I said, there are some Stu fans that don't want to see Stu come back. But if they're going to do it, this is the time. But that is where I'm going to leave you guys. I want to know what you guys think. Are you going to try some of his drinks? What do you think about this whole other side of Matthew Lillard? Does it excite you? Are you happy for the actor that he can have this other company? Do you think that something like this is something you would be interested in finding out more about? I know for me, I kind of want to know more about it myself. And do you think that Stu Macher could in fact be coming back to Scream? Do you think that's the movie project that he isn't saying? As always, we want to hear from you guys. Make sure you're leaving us that comment in the comment box, letting us know what you think. Don't forget to share this video with all of your friends. They're gonna want to be a part of this crazy conversation we're having. And then make sure you hit that like button. It's free, it helps the channel, and we really do appreciate it. And then Miko says we need more subscribers, and look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. And then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.